Alright, we're back, dudes. Still waiting for Blame Game to get their sixth player, it looks like. Or, no, not Blame Game. Is it Blame Game? No, it's
No, it's
Ding Dong
Renga.
Daddy.
Yeah, Renga is the last player to get in here. That's the demo for Ding Dong Daddy, yep. As soon as he gets in, I think they're going to want to go, because we definitely don't want to see a 5v6.
Definitely do not want to see a 5v6.
Kong to get your rich Indian in here.
Classy players already in this server, I can tell.
So, you got any predictions for this? Who do you think is going to win?
I don't know. I just played up against Ding Dong Daddy, and they did alright. I mean, they're not bad by any means. They kind of go a little too aggressive sometimes, like for no reason. But I mean, I think that that's like a general mentality of a lot of the invite players, especially the newer invite players. It's kind of like gotta get that frag reel, like not really so much worried about the win as much as you are about the 3K on mid. But yeah, I think if either team plays, this is a map where you have to kind of play calm. Like you can't really, you can't go too, if you go too deep on this map, if you like hold last or something and then push out to 2, and then don't like recoup after you take 2 and then go mid, you wind up just losing everything. It's one of those maps where I think you kind of can't. You really can't balls to the wall the midpoint, or else you wind up getting wiped, and then it's almost impossible to push out.
That's
but
very
like,
true.
there's a lot of teams. The common trend this week has been teams will push last, get wiped, and then either get wiped pushing last, and then get pushed all the way back to mid, or get pushed all the way back to their last, and then you wind up seeing these huge trades or like these monstrous shifts in map control just because of one fight. It's the spawn times and the spawns on this map are really strange, and it kind of leads to that, but it's I can't really predict accurately. Although it looks like we're ready. Yep. Game starting.
Got all 12 and everybody's readied up. We're going to be starting here. This first mid, I think I'm going to watch. I'm actually going to watch Insom on this first mid here, and I will go with my prediction. I'm going to go 5-3 in favor of Blame Game. And I don't know why. That might be a horrible prediction, but I'd like to think that they got somewhat level heads on their shoulders. They might not. So Insom hits his first rollout very beautifully, gets a sticky out there before Renga does. Not really very much damage going down in here. Insom does take a sticky after on his own pack. He's getting a lot of good damage done on them. But Shootist goes in for the bomb and goes down. Peyote actually going to go down to sure shot off of the damage of Shootist's bomb. And right now, what Blame Game needs to do is they need to play around their medic, but no. Looks like the rest of Ding Dong Daddy comes in and cleans up all the kills. So good on Shootist to get the damage out, but his team I don't think was quite ready to clean up on all that damage.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling that fight for either team, to be honest. The Sure Shot and the rest of Blame Game, they kind of forgot about the Demo Man that was pushing up on their left side, and he got way too much damage off on Sakura there. And Sakura kind of ditched his team. I think if he just committed to the point, he would have done a lot better, but he kind of backed off and wound up eating more spam than I think he wanted to. He wasn't healing someone for a good like 3 or 4 seconds during that mid-fight, and every second counts when it comes to heals. But luckily, both teams traded medics, so you know they're just going to stalemate out, probably try to get a pick here from Blue and try to force something, but I really like the defending. Defending on this point is a lot easier than defending the other points on this map. Aside from last, holding 2 is pretty good. You have a lot of height advantage. You have point presence, and it's kind of hard for the other team to push without a good point. The medic positioning though on Blame Game right now is a little questionable. Mangachu and I forget who else was doing it. They were doing these jumps through the choke, and it was putting a lot of pressure on the meds. The meds kind of exposed right now. I'd like to see him back up, but whatever he wants to do, I guess.
More so than anything, what I would like to see in here is maybe holding an IT and seeing if because what you can tell too is if you're watching choke, you can see if the team that's holding mid is moving into IT, and you might be able to like get some good spam in there if you have like 2 soldiers spamming into IT. But Okiwaka actually goes in for the bomb. He does get the pop. The Ubers are being exchanged in choke here. Blame Game all backing off. Chingu actually had gone down as well. But it looks like Peyote's going to go down. Sakura's still up, and it looks like the fight is going in the way of Blame Game here off of this bomb. This is a pretty good way of just backing up, getting back on playing their heals, and keeping themselves alive. Let Ding Dong Daddy kind of overextend there a little bit. But we have a scout here, Alec Lane on the medic, trying to get that pick, but he was shut down.
Yeah, Blame Game did play that really well. They knew that they were getting pressured. Oh wow, Magic's gonna create
Oh, there he goes, yeah.
I was gonna
This
say
is
they
the
were
air
playing that
shot,
well and they
but
backed up to get healed up, but you have to kind of assume that that's gonna happen. Like you have to know that that's coming. That soldier's gonna jump, and your scouts need to be sitting on you, or you need to just not let stuff like that happen. It's a little bit of a mistake, but I think both medics kind of played a little too far up in both of those skirmishes. But at least now they have the point to back up from and forward spawn, so they should be able to hold two for a little while. But they're gonna be at a big, about 40% disadvantage, assuming that Ding Dong Daddy builds effectively here.
But it looks like they want to. Well, no, we're kind of back down to. It looks like Blame Game is building. I don't know necessarily if the other guys are. Yeah, it looks like both teams are building here. But yeah, like you said, there's still going to be about now about 30% advantage here for Ding Dong Daddy. Let's see how they use this super advantage. And it looks like they want to go IT. A lot of people going into IT right now. Right as the Uber is ready, and they are going to opt to go lower here. The Uber has been popped by Shoot as they are called in IT. This isn't a bad Uber for them, but they definitely need to get more kills. Sakura is safely out. Let's hope that they try to go for a retake here.
That was a good Uber. I don't... Really clutch timing, I think, by everyone there, at least on Blame Game. Ictus is actually making huge plays now on this demo man. If he gets this pick, that'll be huge. Yep, and he stays alive. They backed up just in time to get the Uber off, and then wound up killing Showstopper in the process. If they had timed that maybe like a second or two later, they wouldn't have stopped that cap, and they'd be backed up. But the timing on the jump was perfect, and now they're able to cap mid as a result of it.
Absolutely, and so even though Ding Dong Daddy did have to give up mid, they will have about a 20% advantage, but it looks like Blame Game wants to dry push this. They're already in grass right now. Soldier Bomb into choke. He might get caught out here. Both scouts putting a lot of hurt on Showstopper. He's going to go down, and looks like Okiwaka also going to go down. Shingu getting taken out in a 1v1 against Alec, but their demo is also down. This has to be a point here for Blame Game.
Yeah, I've never actually seen this guy play before, but he just went pretty nuts. He cleaned up a lot of those kills, and his movement was so good that they couldn't really touch him. He got 3 kills, I think, there on that push, so he'll be looking to highlight that later. But he wound up... They literally just blew through choke there and didn't respect the DM of Showstopper and the rest of Ding Dong Daddy. I think the idea was there. I think it was a smart decision, but it's not something that you see generally in... And it kind of caught them by surprise.
So with this Uber, they definitely going to get a pop. A late pop comes out from Peyote. It's going to be a way better Uber. Even though Insom does get a kill on one of the scouts, Shoot is actually going to go down also. But Ben paying for that pick with his own life. And so now it looks like both Ubers are pretty much even, only a 10% difference here. And let's see if Blame Game decides to take this. They might want to opt to dry push right. It looks like that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they took a little bit too much time though. The scouts are going to spawn, but yeah, I don't agree with that push. I think they had to go a little bit faster. It might work out for them, but it probably shouldn't.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. They're trying to get out here. Sakura down to 70 health, picks up a health pack. It's just him and Ictus. Let's see if Ictus can defend his medic once again. He's done such a good job of it so far. And it looks like they're going to be all the way out to last and giving up second.
Yeah, it should be good for them. Once those scouts go down, the respawn times on this map are really low. They kind of had to make something happen immediately or not at all. You can't go in without Uber if you're not going to hit the point. Because what happens was they pushed in 5v4, or what they thought was 5v4, and then both scouts spawned during the push before the Ubers, and then it was 6v5. So you either have to wait for everyone or go immediately. But this Uber exchange is actually pretty good. They're going to be able to take 2, I think, but... It's kind of, it was more of a trade than anything. But again, this is one of those times where they just have to go right now. If they kill this soldier, yeah, they need to just go.
So it was a good, so what you were saying there too earlier during the pregame here is that there was that overextending soldier. Sure shot actually got caught out in lobby. I don't know if he wanted the Uber to go back in there, but I think it was a smart play by Sakura to kind of back out and give himself some room to surf, which is exactly what he did. So here we are at for our last push. We have even Ubers once again, and we'll see what happens here. Shingu on sniper.
Yeah, I think the best way to play this point is actually just to go in with your Uber and don't even try to cap. Like, just try to get the kills on the demo man or one of the scouts or the soldier. Pushing this point with even Uber is almost impossible. You kind of have to just out DM them or play off the heals. If you can get the spam on their doors, you can generally take the point. But playing Uber into a point where you can literally back up into your spawn door to defend is almost impossible.
And actually, while that's
an Uber drop to a body shot. That's unfortunate.
Yep. I thought the mistake was going to be on Insom's side after getting killed to a sticky trap, but looks like Peyote drops to a body shot. Yeah, so Chingu is actually he's a great sniper. I see him do some pretty consistent work when on this class. So I'm not surprised at that at all. And this has got to be Blame Games round. They have their Uber on point. Spawns are out, but Ben and Showstopper are going to go down. Just a little bit more time left on the point, and looks like they're taking a good position here. This yep, Just the Medic is live. And there it is. First round goes to the Blame Game, and a very exciting first round. Who you going to be watching on this next mid here, Flame?
I mean, generally I watch the medics, but Ictus is actually playing out of his mind right now, so I'm going to go on him for this mid fight.
He's going a little cuckoo bananas.
He's been getting a lot done, he hasn't been dying, so he's doing everything he needs to be doing on this map. Both teams look like they're going to opt, although Blue's a little bit slow to mid, but both teams are looking towards that left side of red. Although, here's a dive on the medic by Judas, but it goes down.
He got some good damage though with that bomb, but I don't think it was enough. Let's see here.
They were down both soldiers. I'm not sure why Showstopper didn't just call for the medic to push through choke with him right now. The demo didn't. Yeah, that was miscommunication there, and that's like game losing, or that's round losing at least. If the medic had just went up with the scouts and let one scout back to cap, I think they were in a position to take this fight. But instead, the Showstopper kind of goes in by himself with not enough health and just gets blown up through the choke. It's like small mistakes like that that literally will destroy fights. I mean, they had the point. They dropped both soldiers on Blame Game, and they had no business taking that mid-fight, but Showstopper getting a little too much ahead of himself, and they wound up costing them.
Enson did a crazy amount of damage in that choke. He kind of just waited for them there and just kind of did a really good job baiting all the overextending players as they tried to like finish, seal the deal. And now it's giving them second pretty much for free without having to pop their Uber. And it's going to give them a very large advantage going into this last push here. And it looks like they already want to go. Everybody kind of getting healed up. I don't even think they're going to wait for Chingu, even though they probably could with how much damage they have. They have to find out where the
sentry is, though. Pushing into last is still hard, even with the Uber. It's sales 66, and there's a sentry gun. If they have to pop too early and don't get too much done here... Oh, actually, they got the demo. This should be an easy push for them, but we'll see how this ends up.
Yep, sentry goes down, and the demo goes down with that Uber. Not a bad exchange here for spending that. But Oki going down, Ben going down, and this looks like another round for Blame Game.
Yeah, and one thing, I mean, Ictus is doing his homework. He knew that the medic was going to get jumped when they pushed through that choke point, and he literally just pocketed him, and there was nothing the soldier could do. It's one of those things where you know you should be pushing the point, but at the same time you know someone's going to try to kill your medic. I think the meta in this game right now is a little too medic-centric, and if you can exploit it like Ictus has been doing, it'll pay off.
Absolutely.
Team just
so here we are. This is the third mid of the game here, and Blame Game getting it's the same thing. This time Peyote actually goes down to shoot us his bomb. He gets a nice two crisp Baracus on him right there. But otherwise, Blame Game actually losing a lot of people, struggling to keep their med alive here.
Yeah, Ding Dong Daddy actually lost their medic quite early, and hopefully Sakura can get out here. He's kind of 1v1ing, but his scouts are going to spawn in 2 seconds, and there's a health pack up for him, but no, both scouts chase him out.
Yeah, it looks like he missed the health pack there, which is unfortunate, to say the least.
It's not going to set them back, it might set them back actually, but they should be able to defend last here. It looks like Ictus is actually opting to go engineer. He actually played really well mid, but he wound up dying to a few rollers over the top of the point. I don't think that they need to play as aggressive as they've been. They seem like they're jumping a little bit too much and not really keeping their medic up as much as they could be, but if they just slow it down, get one pick and then back up, especially when your soldiers die, needs to be more controlled. Absolutely. But again, I would not be surprised if they hold this, just because of the way that they've been playing so far. Like, that was one mistake on mid that cost them that fight, and this last point's pretty hard to push.
Yeah, especially with a level 3 here, and it looks like Chingu is also on sniper, so an entry pick here could spell a very botched push for Ding Dong Daddy. And they are coming up on their Uber now. They're moving into lobby. Pretty much they got 3 people in on this Uber. The pop comes out on a scout and a soldier. They can't really do much for it. They're trying to take down the sentry, but it's just not going down.
That's what I'm saying. It's so hard. Chingu was actually playing sniper and just went back into spawn, switched to heavy, and now they're dealing with a sentry gun on the right and a heavy on the left. How do you push into this?
But Alec actually went in and he did get the pick on Sakura, but it's not going to stop them from getting second, I don't think. But it definitely sets them back from getting all the way into mid for free.
No, yeah, I don't like this point. If you're going to push in, you have to force the medic, get out, and then just try to retake it with DM only. Teams get in this habit of trying to think that they have to push. It's like a Badlands syndrome where you have to go in, get the point, kill everything real quick. But this isn't like Badlands. You kind of just have to You have to go in, force their Uber, take a positional advantage, and force them all back into their spawn doors, and then spam the spawn doors. They should be able to hold 2 here, but the Ubers are going to be pretty even. Ding Dong Daddy's going to have to make a play to go through this choke. Blame Game's not really in a position here where they need to be pushing. They're up 2-0, and the round's going. I mean, the round's in their favor. There's no pressure on them to be taking mid right now.
Even the small advantage that Peyote had coming up before Sakura is pretty much gone. They really didn't start building until I think they heard the other scout building for Blame Game, which you can pretty much hear across the map if that's happening. And it kind of means that they both got their Ubers at the same time, so neither team really doing anything. We're going to see if Okiwaka can jump in here and do something. Oki is a great soldier with good DM, and he usually is favored with relatively nice ping, although today he has about 76. Usually he's got like 5 because he lives in the middle, like Oklahoma or something.
Those ESEA servers. Okiwaka's actually going to jump in right now and try to get the force on the meta, because Rockets don't really connect at all though. So, and now Ranga's way too pushed up. If he gets taken a pipe there, that would have been a 1 round I think for Blame Game, but gets out, and now it's just another thing. I hope Blame Game doesn't try to go for a push here.
Looks like they just went for a quick stack. Shootist was really quick to respond to that, to Oki jumping in. He tried to jump in, but didn't get much either.
I don't know why they're pushing right now. Yeah, that was a really bad push. First of all, the medic drop, whatever. The push itself, though, why are you going through choke? There was no advantage there. It was 5v5, and the soldier had just spawned on their team. Best case scenario, they push through choke with no soldier, and then we're going to see an Uber drop as a result. I don't think that they were on point to be taking that fight. Regardless, I don't think that was going to go in their favor, even if he hadn't dropped. They might TF2 actually just crashed, so I'll be right back.
Alright, I'll go with the play-by-play here. Looks like they're trying to stop a back cap, and he might get the point. Oh, he just barely gets it. Ben he gets the point, but he's only serving a delay to Blame Game from getting back in here. Ben and Oki still down as Blame Game looks to take mid, and looks like some sneaky, sticky traps are going up right now all over the point. And Showstopper jumps in, only gets trades with the pocket. Chingu and Ictus both died of this very sneaky, sticky trap by Renga, and Blame Game is now running for their lives. Shootist actually this little 180 rocket and takes out Okiwaka and Choke. Sakura still with an Uber. He's got about 6 to 40% advantage here, and it looks like they want to
huge rocket by Shootist. That was a pretty nice shot on Bank right there, Ben K. Although, Sakura's actually getting shot in the back for 4. That was 4 shots that did 0 damage to Sakura. I don't even think he was strafing.
I don't even think he realized that was even happening.
Yeah, it's those nerves right there. He had no idea there was a scout touching him with a scatter gun, but now he's through choke with full Uber advantage. Good job by Ding Dong Day to delay it to this point to where their medic can get some semblance of Uber, but that was pretty questionable plays. I feel like they should have had the force there, but I don't know why they're pushing this choke. They have no reason to. That was a really good split actually right there by Sakura. Insom probably should be dead, but the flash on him in midair kept him alive, and now we're just going to see a straight up DM war. You can't just push through choke into 2 on this map, or into mid rather. It's not happening. The choke point on this map is way too tiny. You have to wait for them to push and then try to retake it. There's no rush. I mean, you have 30 minutes per round. Someone's going to make a mistake. You just shouldn't try to force it to be yourself, I think.
And it looks like Blame Game will be trying to go into, they love this drive push right here. Sureshot actually going down, overextending a little bit. They should be getting another soldier, Oki going down. And I don't know if Ding Dong Daddy's in such a great position right now. Big air shot by, that was a sick midi by Insom there. Very tight pipe onto Showstopper. But it's not going to be enough, as it looks like Sakura's going to be running for his life, but there is no way he is getting out of this. He actually gets the saw!
That was really nice. That was really well played. You don't see that very often. And now he's going to have a soldier here to clean up with him. Big plays right there. Not really the biggest of deals. If he had died, probably be close to the same spot. But actually, now they can hold 2, I think, or at least try to force the Uber. They need to back up, though. They haven't forced yet on Ding Dong Daddy, and they should be looking to take this point pretty much uncontested. They should be trying to get a force, though, now. If they let them through to 2 with no Uber pop, then it's going to be a little bit more rough than I think they want it to be. Both teams getting a little bit too confident, though. We just saw both teams actually do it. They had their advantages, and they didn't play them correctly. They just kind of went balls to the wall, thinking that they could do whatever they wanted, and it wound up pushing both teams back to the spots where they started in.
So Shootist actually gets an early pop here in IT. They're only able to kill the roamer, so pretty much they give up They are giving up second in favor of Uber Advantage, but it looks like Ding Dong Daddy wants to go right in here. They want to push this. Okiwaka actually getting taken out really quickly. The rest of the team backing off and just holding on to second. I really want to see Blame Game try to push out here, but I don't know exactly how well it's going to go for them. Clearing sticks in lobby right now, and the Uber is coming out through bats right now. Time on point. Uber has still not been popped by the Blame Game, and they got plenty of point. And it's just the threat of their Uber right now that's keeping out Ding Dong Daddy from even trying to contest this, which is it's a good play. It's a good play by Blame Game.
Yeah, you don't really want to be going for the medic picks. I mean, can, but stuff like this happens. If you're going to go for that play, though, where you try to force the medic holding last, you kind of have to commit to it and then be ready to force them when they come through choke, because they're not going to not go through choke here.
Yeah, and it looks like, whoa, both medics actually going down. Nice pipe from Insom. Sakura actually got caught out a little bit at the end of that Uber, trying to get back through choke. He did have a nice little surf, but it wasn't enough to get out. And it kind of sucked. I would have liked, it was a good, even exchange there with a solo onto, onto Sure Shot, but it just didn't kind of play out for them in the post Uber. And that is the first round for Ding Dong Daddy, putting themselves on the board. Kind of a misplay there.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean fight by any means. I think Shootist made some plays, but I think they needed to just back up there after both medics died. You can't, if this map turns into a DM war and you lose, you get pushed all the way back. You need your medic. Once they traded medics, I think the rest of Blame Game needed to get back to their point, but they didn't. And now the score is 1-2.
Renga actually getting taken out with a nice body rocket by Shootist there. And Shootist actually staying alive during this mid, which I also think is really crucial. They lose their med. Peyote is still up, but he's all the way out, but they definitely are going to be pushing this and trying to take second for free.
Ictus is actually trying to go in for the backstab here and try to get the medic or a pick in general. We'll see what happens. They're all the way back to last, and he knows that it looks like they're going to be in position to take two, despite having no Uber and no medic even.
Yep, keeps Renga out there on in that rollout sort of door there. And actually Ben trying to peek that same door, and he gets caught out by Sure Shot, jumps over there. Shootist actually going down as well, trying to get the force out of Peyote.
Yeah, Peyote actually didn't have it for a while. He wasn't building for some reason. I think someone must have ditched him, because he was sitting at around 75-80% for way longer than he should have been, and I think if Blame Game had known that, they would have just taken two, because he actually didn't have Uber when they were trying to cap. Little mistakes like that could have cost them the round, but it looks like they're going to take mid back, which makes you wonder why they even pushed through to two if they're just going to give it up.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where I think that they don't want to make any more mistakes here, but Shootist actually getting the force, which is exactly what they want here, and Insom, it'll be on him to pretty much deny them out of this choke if they decide to. And it looks like Oki is in. Nope. Yep, he goes down. The Uber is now popped for Sakura. And it's all the way in. Renga and Showstopper getting taken out by a nice little jump.
I don't understand this. Like, okay, so what happened here was Blame Game backed up to two. They gave up the point, fine. They were down one, and then the Showstopper or Renga or Okiwaka, whatever, jumped through choke to try to force them, but they weren't like committed to it. So half of Ding Dong Daddy just backed up and then ate all the spam that came their way. You can't, if you're gonna force the Uber, you have to be ready for the Uber to come. You can't force the Uber and then eat the Uber. If they had backed up, they'd be holding, but they're not, and now they're gonna just trade for last. Small mistakes and big plays because of it.
This is true. Alec, another pretty decent sniper here. I think we're going to probably see a suicide from somebody, hopefully from Shootist. He's kind of known as like the playmaker for this team. Actually, the Uber is now popped right now. Sakura had 6 health with a Homa. He just barely gets this Uber, and he gets the pop out, but he's going to have to be careful. But it looks like Shootist.
Shootist hit an air shot there to cap that, so that was actually pretty nice, but I don't know why they're pushing out of 2. They had to know that the Ubers were about even. But I guess it really comes down to Peyote not building as well. He probably thought that he had an advantage, but he actually didn't because they weren't building during that time. He actually probably should have had about a 30% advantage because he didn't die during that push into mid, but no one was building with him, and it gave Ding Dong Daddy, or Blame Game rather, time to catch up on the Uber despite having popped.
Yeah, pretty amazing that Sakura even lived there. I totally thought he was going to die for sure. When he dropped down to like even lower than like 50 health, and then he went all the way down to 6 health. I don't know if it was necessarily good on him staying alive. I don't really think he did anything quite like super amazing, more so than people just kind of not hitting their shots.
Yeah, the soldiers
Yeah.
in this game are actually hitting a lot of air shots. Like, I've been watching, and Showstoppers hit a few, Shoes has hit more than a few. The back cap was actually off the back of an air shot on a scout. I mean, the DM is definitely there. I just think that they need to realize what they're doing wrong. If they just slowed it down whenever they took a point, this map, you have to be really careful on this map. You can't get too aggressive. Again, like, spawns are just going to screw you over. If both teams just take it easy, whichever team takes it the easiest, I think is going to win. This 3-1's nothing to, like, put money on. The comebacks on this map are pretty common, but we'll see what happens, I guess, as we're readying for people to ready up.
Let's take a look at some stats here from this match. Not that they tell the whole story, but they'll tell a story. Insom doing very well here, top damaging for his team, almost a 10k damage just in that first half, which is great for him. His counterpart, Renga, on the other side, not as much damage. I don't know if that's really the deciding factor, but Insom he is proving to be an invite demo. He is top fragging, top damaging. So Insom having a great game, which is great. Shoot is also having a pretty decent game, making a lot of those plays. During the game with 6 cuties, he was also definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they have a lot of skill, I guess, to work with. We've seen a couple of drop dubers, more drop dubers than I think we need to see, and it makes a difference. I mean, I don't want to say drop dubers equal the end round, but generally in Invite, the way the matches I've been watching, pretty much if your medic drops an uber, you're gonna lose the round. But we've already seen 2 this game from Peyote.
Yeah.
And they are down 2 points. So
I would say that's very uncharacteristic of him too. But I think the body shot was forgivable. But the one in choke, not so much. So here we are, this first half, or the first mid of the second half here, and it looks like it's pretty much the same story. Ding Dong Daddy playing very passively on these mids and kind of just letting these soldiers do a whole lot of damage to them, and then Blame Game doing a great job of playing their heals and just letting the picks come into them after they kill Peyote. It's kind of a thing.
Yeah, I watched Sure Shot actually that mid round, and I'm glad I did. He went up top and got a lot of damage off, more than I think he should have, and he played off the health pack really well. Like, I think 2 or 3 players from Ding Dong Daddy tried to go for it, and he denied them with rockets, and they wound up just dying while one of his scouts grabbed it. But him and Shootist are showing that their DM is definitely up to par for Invite Soldier level. It's doing a lot of work for them. He's actually been around for a really long time, Sure Shot, but
yeah,
they seem to be. I mean, he knows his way around the game and how to pocket, especially.
And what's actually really funny about this particular team is he's probably like the only player that's been playing the game around. A lot of these guys are like relatively new, not to TF2, but definitely new to Invite. And they're just gonna walk onto the point and get it, as there are still 5 players up for Ding Dong Daddy. They kind of just let them walk onto the point, and that's something that happens a lot on this process mid. You can hold, or last, you can hold pretty far back. You can kite ubers if you're at a disadvantage, but if they're playing the point, you kind of have to stand on it, or at least contest them, get them off of it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's definitely a different mid fight. So Okiwaka actually goes down, so does Ben K pretty much immediately during this fight. They need to just back up now and cut their losses. Peyote's kind of still trying to heal his soldiers long way with... Actually, they get both soldiers. DM from this one soldier left on...
Oh, but Insom's jumping in on the medic. He hits a nice pipe on Pei. I don't know if he's able to kill him. His scout's running in to try to get the kill. Pei and Showstopper go down, and Chingu with the 2k there with a little bit of help from Insom. That was a pretty big play by him. I don't really think that anybody
that was
saw
such a strange fight. I don't think Sakura wanted to go in there, or not Sakura, Peyote wanted to go in there, but I think he had gotten the call to go, and then it kind of screwed them over. He was ready to back up through choke with his demo man, but didn't, and now they're going to be holding last with no Uber. Way too aggressive there from Ben K. That was kind of expected. No flank, no gank, just literally going to walk through choke and try to see what I can do.
Okay,
they're playing this really well.
they're
Sakura and the Blame Game's doing really well here. They know that they're going to get dove and just back up. But it's not going to work out for Insom, or not Insom, for Ding Dong Daddy. They need to just kind of slow down and try to hold last. Diving on a medic with Uber is not going to pay off unless you force, and you can't do that with just one player.
It looked like kind of a miscommunication. Ben Key went really early, and then Oki kind of went a little bit later. If they had gone maybe at the same time, it could have been a big deal. So actually, this Uber is not doing a whole lot in terms of kills, but Insom hits a nice pipe, and Peyote goes down. That's the game. Blame game takes the win, 5-2-1.
Yeah, that Uber might have looked like it wasn't doing much, but they actually wound up pushing, I think, 3 or 4 of them into the spawn door, and you can't really defend last if you're sitting inside your spawn, so wound up working out. But yeah, that's the end of that game.
Well, alright, that's awesome. We want to look at any final stats, any final thoughts about this match, Flame?
No, I think that the DM's definitely there for Ding Dong Daddy. It's just the decision making. Saw 2 dropped Ubers, saw a few pushes that I think shouldn't have happened, and I think Ictus actually put it out of his mind. If I was going to put an MVP on this map, probably be Ictus on Blame Game. But him and Insom played ridiculously good TF2 tonight, so props to them, and a lot of good shots on, I think every single soldier hit all of their shots.
Alright, shout outs to Kurt, to Truck here for being our excellent cameraman for the night. Shout out also to Mana for setting this all up. And shout out to you, Flame. This has been a pleasure casting with you.
Yeah, for sure. I like your play-by-play analysis. It keeps me in check. It's good.
Yeah, and we got stats up on the stream right now. So as you can see, Insom doing a whole lot of work for his team, and Ictus also doing a really, really good job. He just played his heels.
Yeah, for sure.
Way.
Pocket Scout, the comeback, at least on this map. And we'll probably see a transition next week on Granary. The soldiers will probably be doing more damage than anything else. It's kind of a rough scout map. So every map, I think, has its strengths and its weaknesses as far as classes. And I think every map has a position for each class to shine in a different way. And I think this week is definitely more of a scout demo week, whereas next week will definitely be more of a demo soldier week. So just remember that when you're thinking about like predictions for next week and stuff. It's not always about how they did the week before, but more how can they adjust for the map ahead. And I think that the teams with these 2 teams, especially with their soldier DM ability, is going to be something to watch next week, despite how their records might look this week.
All right. Well, I'm London Calling. This is Flame, and I think we're going to sign off for the night. Thank you all for watching, and yeah. This was it by TF2.
Welcome to the game.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.